as we get started. And I'm gonna, while we're waiting for everyone else to come in, I'm going to share a screen that really describes my my life of late, and I think the life of a district governor-elect and a district governor some days. Let me see if I can make this work here. Share screen. And it is a quote that makes me smile because I often feel we are dancing. And for those of you who can't read it, it says, an optimist, someone who figures that taking a step backwards after taking a step forward is not a disaster. It's more like a cha-cha. So it's more like a dance back and forth. And I really think that will sum up a lot of your experience as you continue preparing to be a governor, and also once you are a governor. And I think it's important that we be optimistic because there's so much out there, and human beings learn by making mistakes. So I think we need to take advantage of that. And if something doesn't go the way it was planned, evaluate what happened and then come back and do it again better the next time. So I don't know if anyone else has a quote that they'd like to share off the top of their head right now, but that's that's where I feel like I am, because one day I feel like I'm going forwards and the next day I'm going backwards. So, you know. So with that, we're going to get started, and Happy New Year to all of you. We are getting into a very exciting time. You are now over 6 months into your term as first vice district governor. Some of you are district governors elect already, and I'm going to refer to you all as DGEs the rest of the night because otherwise we won't get through this. We are recording this session just to make sure you realize that. And first and foremost, I really want to thank you all for your patience and support as I've been recovering from this knee replacement. As I was saying just prior to the start of the call, I am still on pain medications. So things are a little fuzzy for me still. So if I'm not speaking clearly or you don't understand what I'm saying, please stop me so we can try to get it right, because I guarantee if you don't understand what I'm talking about, no one else does either. And we really want to make sure this is clear. So like I said earlier, I hope you all have your dancing shoes on because our training schedule is really going to start ramping up. And you're going to see over the next few months, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to learn some new technology and get involved at ways that you never even thought you would in an online training of sorts. I do want to put out a quick reminder that the overall goal of your training this year from both the group leaders and from your GAT team leader is to continue to make sure we're providing you with the tools and resources that you need to make your district governor year a success, not only for you, but more importantly for your district. You are there to leave your district in a better place than it was when you started your year. So tonight specifically, we're going to be preparing for this upcoming virtual district governor-elect school that for us is going to start on February 27th and end on March 26th. We're going to go over all the pre-assignments, and I apologize to those of you who are on WhatsApp. I grabbed the wrong booklet earlier today when I was sharing the booklet for tonight. The booklet for tonight was mailed to you last month. Let me turn off my background here a second and see if I can get this to show for you. Was mailed via postal mail last month, and it looks like, okay, sure, I can get this to work. It looks like this: pre-assignment booklet, 2022 First Vice District Governor DGE Seminar. If you did not receive the booklet, I think it was Greg that sent a note in WhatsApp. Please shoot me an email or drop a note in the chat, and I will follow back around with LCI, and I'll CC you on that email to make sure that you have the books that getting to you. They did just ship out your your DGE School participant manuals and a couple of other materials to you for the actual seminar, and that is that's the first booklet I accidentally put in the chat window for you, so you've got that in advance. But the booklet we're talking about tonight is this one. I can try and drop it in the chat if you would like here. Let's see if I can make that work.
Jody?
Yes.
You know, I'd emailed you. I didn't even get this one in the mail. I've received no mail from LCI in the last month. And
so,
and I see we're leaving Monday for Houston, and we'll be there until March the 8th. So I emailed Lisa and gave her the address where we'll be staying in Houston.
Excellent. So if you have not received that, I've got a couple of questions and things for you to kind of troubleshoot with. Number one, please make sure your member record in My LCI is up to date. They are using your official, if you either have just your regular address in there or an officer address for mailing communications, that is the address that they're using. So please make sure that that's up to date. Otherwise, if you do not have these items, feel free, again, to let me know either in the chat.
Hello.
Are you guys still hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, either let me know in the chat or I'm sorry, I'm having a problem. Something I keep getting internal errors and trying to give you guys this free assignment book. Let's try this again. We'll either drop it in the chat or email me and let me know if you did not receive a book in the mail that looks like this. Let me see if I can get the whole thing there. And I'm going to cancel and try to share this again. And if I can't get this to share on this attempt, we will go back and I will email it out to all of you after this session is done. I know some of you have received the pre-assignment booklet because I've received notes from you saying that you were already partway through or done with it. All right, my Google, something's goofy right now. I'm not going to be able to add this to the chat window. I apologize. So I will email the book out afterwards. It will be helpful for you if you have it tonight, but it's not essential. So you'll be fine to get us, we'll get through this session okay. So we're going to go over all the pre-assignments this evening. We're going to talk about our schedule and answer any of your questions. We're also going to take some time tonight to talk a little bit about your district governor goals and where you're at for your district goals for next year, and make sure you're on track and know where all those resources are. I've received some questions from some of you about some of these materials and different things, so I think it would be helpful to go over that. I've got some other tips and tricks to let you know about and go from there. A couple quick meeting logistics housekeeping issues is this session, as I said earlier, is being recorded. It will be sent out next week so that you have access to it down the road. I will also share it with you through a Google Drive folder, so you'll have access to that Google Drive folder. So it'll be available for you there. If you don't have your booklet, or even if you do, I hope you either have a pen and paper or your tablet or your laptop or however you prefer to take notes, because there's going to be a lot of information for you tonight that you're going to want to be able to access again. I am your trainer. I'm experienced, but you all bring a lot to the table as well. And part of the way that we enhance this training, especially in this virtual world, is that you ask questions. You ask questions to clarify, you ask questions to enhance, you share your own experiences in these different areas so we can all learn from one another. So don't hesitate to ask a question or add your 2 cents worth, if you will, in. You're all able to mute and unmute yourselves, and you can either ask your questions by unmuting yourself at any time. You can raise your hand by using the reactions function of raising your hand, or you can drop it into the chat window. So those are the 3 ways that you can ask your questions. Again, this evening, I'm running my own tech, so I will be able, I'm hoping, I think I've got my setup so I can see your chat, but if I can't, if you have a question when I'm sharing the screen, please unmute and jump in, no matter, and interrupt me to make sure we get your question answered. Any questions on how we're going to be working this evening? Awesome, I'm seeing a lot of shaking your heads no, so anytime you get lost or have questions again, jump in. So as I was looking at our session for the evening, it became, I was looking into how the upcoming trainings and how we're going to really be using breakout rooms and working in small groups to talk through challenges and opportunities and support one another through it, and also to celebrate our successes throughout the whole District Governor-elect Virtual Training School. So tonight I thought it might be a good idea for us to practice these breakout room skills and supporting one another by going into breakout rooms with 3 or 4 of you in total in each of the rooms and talking about some of the things that are going on right now and brainstorming some potential solutions and ideas that might help you get through some of the challenges you're facing. So in a moment, I'm going to send you to a breakout room, and I'm going to randomly assign you all to your breakout rooms. There will actually be, I think we'll do 3 of you in each room, because there's 18 of you. And we'll have those breakout rooms open for a total of 19 minutes. You're going to have a minute to get organized. And during that minute, your job is going to be to pick a reporter who's going to share a brief overview summary of your conversation after the session, so we can all hear what's going on in your areas. And you're also going to determine the order you're going to present in. It can be random, you can go however you'd like. Each of you will have a couple of minutes to present who you are and where you're from, just to remind everyone, and then to share a challenge that you're facing, and spend up to 5 minutes then discussing amongst yourselves and brainstorming how you might overcome that challenge and some ideas that you may not have thought of. Excuse me. To help keep you on track, I'm going to send a note every 5 minutes to your breakout rooms to let you know that it's time to switch topics, switch district governor-elects. And the last piece of information is to make sure that when you get into the room that your video is on, and make sure that you can mute and unmute yourself when it is when you are speaking. So any questions on what we're doing? You're basically going into a breakout room, picking a reporter, figuring out what order you're going to present in, and then each DGE will have a total of 5 minutes to present a challenge they're facing and get input and brainstorm with their fellow DGs on some potential solutions to that challenge or ideas that you might want to try.
That 20 minutes went by fast.
It certainly did. And that is part of the learning curve of this whole thing. So first of all, I apologize. I just messaged you all. You had 60 seconds to wrap up. And then I accidentally hit close rooms and it shut down in 10 seconds. So I'm going to give you just a minute here to kind of, those of you who are reporting, to kind of collect your thoughts. And we will then proceed with the discussion. So, or the summaries. Is anyone ready to present right now out of rooms 1 through 6? And if you don't know which room it is, you just, I will figure it out as we go along. How's that? So go ahead and unmute yourself or raise your hand if you'd like to be our first group.
We're ready to go.
All right, Beryl, you were in group 3, room 3. Good. Okay, go ahead.
Well, you're not sure exactly what you want to all hear, but we talked about what is a major issue, whatever, in our districts. So we have Dawn from Iowa, and she's got a very broad district from one end of Iowa to the other, but they're redistricting. And so that is going to be a little bit of an issue, but her main concern was there seems to be more and more trouble getting volunteers to do things. So that was hers. SK is from Singapore. He wants to be referred to as SK. He's got 2,500 members, if I got it right, in his district. And the problem is to sustain those numbers. They have clubs that are very diverse in race and language. So, a couple of issues in his area. In my district in Saskatchewan, we're northern Saskatchewan, the north half of the province. And I'm going into being the district governor with the club. We have a lot of clubs that are in trouble as far as members, retaining members getting old, and they haven't picked up new younger members. And I can see us, we have 56 clubs right now. And as I just said that, I could tell you we now have 55, and we could lose as many as 10 clubs if something isn't done. So I'm sure, under goals, it's going to be, we aren't discussing that tonight, but the goal for me is going to be to, they want new clubs to start. I'm going to be happy if I can keep what we got. So great. I'm done.
Great report. Thank you, Beryl. Who's next?
You're welcome.
All right, Jeanette. You were in room 4, I believe.
We were in room 4. Graham, who's from Australia, they have 74 clubs there, and it's very challenging times for COVID, because of COVID, and also with Dorothy, who is from Malaysia. And I concurred with them because, you know, in North Dakota, sadly, we are losing members. And I think it's weighing very heavy on us. And so what we're trying to do is come up with, number one, filling our cabinets, you know, because nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants to be around people. They just feel comfortable at home. So that's one of the things that Graham and I are facing, is having just a few issues getting our cabinets filled. Another thing that all three of us were talking about is bringing in new members. That I think is going to be our saving grace, if we can really succeed in that, and bringing in new members and changing the way we used to do things, enticing the younger generation, getting them involved, the older generation learning the IT. You know, that's one of the things that is holding us back, is the technology, not being able to keep up with them. We talked about if we can get the younger members, networking them with other younger members in other clubs. You know, we just need a lot of revitalization within the clubs, because it's hurting us. You know, we talked about the GMA approach, and what that's going to be like for us in giving us a new way of approaching people, you know, approaching our clubs, approaching people in the community and stuff like that. We have to get away from the mindset that we don't want to change. I think we're all intimidated when the younger generation come in and they've got fire underneath their butts and they want to get going and they want to be out in the community, while the older generation is like, yeah, you know, we're older, and so we really don't want to go and do that, but we have to. I'm very disappointed in my district. We have such great leaders in my district, with past international directors, past district governors. They seem to be comfortable in sitting in the back and not helping mentor, you know, and I think we need that more in my group, or in my district, that we need mentors, and we need to get out of this funk. We're in a funk, you know, and we need to get out there and change it around, or we're going to be in trouble.
It sounds like you guys had a great discussion in your room as well. So fantastic. Thank you, Jeanette. So who's next?
I don't mind going next. That's
Okay.
Michael. I was with Dale from Iowa, and we also had Jackie Lou, who he said he was a bit ill, so he dropped off the screen. So I don't know what happened there. Dale and I got to know each other a little bit, the type of club we are, the district, etc. One of the things he asked me first up was, do we have trouble attracting young people? And of course, the answer was yes. And then I asked him about goals, because I was a bit confused about our goals when we're supposed to have them in. And I think Dale was quite relieved when I said it's May sometime, we're supposed to have our goals in. And I get confused about, what am I just creating my goals with my team, or is the GMA having some input, the global membership approach, which we have a meeting tomorrow. So anyway, that'll get sorted out, I suppose. But
We're going to talk about goals in a little while, and make sure you remind me if I forget to talk about that.
All right. The next thing we moved on to was the fact that in Dale's area and mine, redistricting is on the program. And he made the point that redistricting ends up with even larger districts for a district governor to get around. And it will, if you have succession planning in place, if districts are combined, well, that planning is disrupted. And in his district in particular, they do have succession well down the line. So he's hoping that doesn't come to fruition and in a detrimental way. When we went on to some membership ideas, Dale mentioned that their club has sponsorship for golf days and a pancake drive, I think it was, Dale. and they get businesses to sponsor a foursome of golf or some pancakes, and they've attracted some members out of that because the business people see what good the club is doing and like to be a part of it. And I floated an idea I've got where I'm going to put this to our meeting tomorrow, where we try and attract some people to clubs in an existing club first by having a letter drop around town and with flyers asking people to attend perhaps a wine and cheese or more like a beer night over here. And on the flyer, they'd fill out their name and address, email, and when they attend the meeting, they drop it in a box. We have a good time, no pressure, everybody has fun. And then at the end of the night, we draw 3 of these flyers out of the box and people can win $150 or $25. So that's a carrot to get them along, and it doesn't cost a hell of a lot. So we're going to try that, I hope. That's about all I've got for you.
That sounds fantastic. Another great discussion, and just 2 of you. And the whole time with just 2 of you got a luxury at that one. Awesome. All right, who's next? Looks like we need someone from room 2, which was either Carol, Mike, or Ron.
Yeah. Okay, I'm the recorder, and I said right up front I am a lousy recorder because I can't talk and write at the same time. I'm not a good multitasker. But I had Mike from Iowa and Ron from South Dakota, and obviously myself from Utah. And our main conversation actually really evolved around membership and how we can try and bring in new members, and especially in smaller rural areas. And we did discuss about how the fact that we were losing some members, and I mentioned that in our district, we're not just bleeding membership, we're hemorrhaging. So we have actually tried joining up with a different service organization, and we have picked up a few members in my club through that. And we did talk about the Seal Beach Club in California, how they presented at the USA Canada Forum in Iowa, and how they actually changed the outlook on how they even do service in their local area. And we talked about trying to get clubs from being just a check writing clubs, dinner check writing clubs, into actually getting out and doing physical service, and how that could possibly help bring in new members, and just the old-fashioned way of calling and asking people to come in. And we did talk about a lot of other things, but like I said, I am a lousy recorder.
Well, Carol, for a lousy reporter, you did a really nice job of summarizing a lot of discussion. So great work. All right, so we have 2 more rooms to report, either room 5 or room 6. Anyone? Okay, David, go for it.
Get off on mute. We're in room 5. There were 3 of us. We had Rick Moore, we had Billy Joe Webb, and myself, David Coates. Rick Moore is from Utah. Billy is from Mississippi, and I'm from Iowa. Our discussion was based on older members not having the technology background to do Zoom meetings. One of the things that we talked about is having a training session for the older members to come in and learn how to do a Zoom call and understand that. Another one is having young members that come in and can't afford to be a Lion, and they need help, or they've got children in baseball and basketball and football and other organizations where their money is hemorrhaging out. And we talked about doing maybe some projects that would allow a Lion to gain extra money or have older members put in an extra $5 to help pay for the new members that are coming in. One of the things that we also talked about is younger members stepping up. Sometimes the older members want the younger members to come in and take over and stuff like that, and they don't often do that. And as I said, we need to break down the task, send them to the store for the pancake mix, and then when they get back, tell them, well, you got the mix, now make it, and follow the directions, and teach them how to do a pancake breakfast and get involved. And that was the one thing about the new members, is getting them involved right away in a service project. And once they, in my opinion, once they get a taste of doing something, then they can proceed on being a better Lion member in the future. And getting them involved is a big part of the process. And that's basically, we hashed out a lot of this. It was really neat. Rick Moore's daughter has brought in 4 new members. She's 24, and she was able to talk these new young people to come in. And once they come in, if we get them involved and understand what Lionism is about, then we can keep them and retain them. And and I think every district in here we are hemorrhaging here. We're losing members, and we're not gaining members, and we're redistricting, and we're doing everything that everybody else said. That's my report. That's it.
Excellent report. Sounds like another great discussion. And last but not least, we have room 6, which was Greg and Vin. Which of you are the lucky reporters?
Well, we didn't decide which, so Vin, if you want me to, I'll go ahead and report. Is that okay?
Yes, please,
Okay,
go ahead.
okay. Vin is from the lovely down under city of Sydney, Australia. And the third person we had for a while was KK Loy from Malaysia, but he kind of was in and out as far as his internet connection. Vin and I were on the same line of thinking, and that is growing membership. It seems, well, in our district in Mississippi, we have 2 in the state. It's some of our smaller clubs are wanting to grow, but it's almost the mindset of we want somebody come in and recruit them for us. And I've said to some of those clubs, I said, well, I can come in. I'll be glad to come in. But that owner of the business doesn't know me from anyone else. You have the relationship. You're right there in town. And I said, the easiest way to grow the membership is ask people to come. I mean, it's pretty simple. Up until our meeting this week, I said, they're not going to knock down your door to come in and say, hey, I've been looking for you, I'm here. But Tuesday in our club, we actually had that happen. This was a lady, and I didn't know her. I'm current president of our club, and talked to her afterwards. And I said, well, how did you come about us? I saw your information on your webpage and I wanted to come. So, you just have to ask people. Another way is by inviting them to some of the activities, like an eye screening, or we have a big chicken go where we grill chickens and sell them, and have them come to that event to see, we really are in the service business. Our district is growing shorter and shorter because unfortunately we have a lot of older members, and if you've been here, you're subject to going. So that's what we talked about. KK talked about trying to retain members, that they're in Malaysia, and trying to keep members active, involved, and wanting to serve. That seemed to be on that vein for a while, and then just lose interest and just leave. So that's what we talked about.
Wow, great recap, Greg. Sitting here listening to all of what you got through in such a short period of time, first of all, I'm in awe. And second of all, I think you probably could have stood at least another hour just to have these conversation amongst one another. And I think it's important that we recognize this is a really good example of what's going to happen in our virtual training school. There's set amounts of time for discussion, and we have to be efficient and we have to be effective. And sometimes we're going to run over in time. And with the group's permission, we may not cut off discussion. We may continue for a while, but it's really quick moving, very fast moving, and things that you need to gather and be prepared for. The one thing that we did tonight that is the one major difference from how this is going to work in DGE School, the virtual training seminar, is that I intentionally did not provide you the question in advance of what we're going to talk about, because I wanted you to experience what it's like going cold. Think about how much richer your discussion might have been if you would have had time to prepare your portion of the presentation, what you wanted to talk about in advance, and be ready to support others in those areas as well. So as we're preparing for DGE School, this pre-assignment book we're going to go through in a few minutes, it's really important that you follow through and do all your pre-assignments, because everything builds on top of one another, and it all feeds into the most richest part of this entire session is these discussions you're going to have in small groups and we're going to have as a whole. So your commitment to the training is really to prep for it, to make sure you get the most out of it and your fellow attendees do as well. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our district governor virtual school that's coming up here in a little bit. And we're going to share the schedule again with you in a few moments here and go through it more directly, but just some general comments first. First of all, let's talk about attendance. The district governor-elect school is designed to be held over 3 weekends, and we're spreading them out over the full month because we're going to have a break in between weeks 2 and 3, I want to say, of a week off. And it's really important that you be at all the sessions. We'll start with the fact that all of these sessions are going to be hosted through a platform called Chime. That's CHIME. This is the same platform that they used for last year's district governor-elect school, and it's also the platform that was used for International Convention last year, to a different degree than what we'll be using it for. I'm telling you we're going to be using this because it's not to scare you, but to let you know that next month, and I don't have a date or a time on this, there's going to be an optional training for you to be able to learn more about Chime. Chime is basically an opportunity for you to log in. And then once you're in there, there's a lot of information for you and places you can go and search about, and we'll go through all of that. But all of our actual sessions are going to be links that'll be in the Chime app or platform, but they'll be via Zoom. So we will be talking on a Zoom call just like this. We'll just log in differently than we did today. And I know that's a bit confusing, and I swear it's going to make perfectly good sense once I can get you into Chime and we can walk through the process. I don't have specific dates and details on that yet for you. I do know that I will be going through a training on that in the middle of February. And I assume soon after that, I will be sharing a lot of information with you, including an optional training session, because no one gave me any direction that we're going to have a required training session for that. But I do feel it's important that you're all comfortable with it. So I'll come up with a date and offer an opportunity that we can do maybe a couple of dates to be able to go through Chime with you. Similar to what you would do if you're training your people on how to use Zoom. If you have to provide a training, we'll do a similar setup for that with Chime. So any questions on that other than, oh my God, what the heck is Chime?
You'll email us the dates of when we'll do that optional and the regular.
I certainly will. As soon as I have those dates, which will hopefully be sooner than a month from now, I will get those to you so you can put them on your calendar. I think it's important we offer a couple of those dates, just so if you have the ability to try and have a better opportunity for you to get in on it. Yes, Ron.
I'm due to be in San Antonio from the 6th to the 10th and Austin from the 11th to the 14th of March. And I guess the point I'm making is we need to know you know, a little earlier about, you know, what we're going to do. Did you say that we were just doing it on the weekends, or I'm sorry, I missed that.
We're going to get to the schedule here in a minute. What our actual virtual training school sessions are. That email went out on November 17th to all of you with the full schedule. I'm going to resend the schedule after we get done with this call. I'll get that back out to you all
Yeah,
again to make sure you got it. But let's keep going through, and we'll get to the schedule here in a minute, Ron, so you can see where everything's at.
Well, that I see some other people shaking their heads, so that's, I think it's really important. Yeah, I appreciate it that you're getting it out again. So thank you.
Sure. So yes, Beryl, you're on mute.
So I did get that email and I checked back at it, but it's not very specific is what my problem is. So I would be same as Ron, you know, we got to be a little more specific, and I'm hearing from you, we're going to get more specific dates,
Right.
weekends
So,
and stuff.
so give me just a couple of minutes here, because we got a couple of other pointers we got to go through, and then we'll get to the schedule and answer any questions we can at that point.
Thank you.
I mentioned earlier that live sessions are designed to build off of the pre-work and also the some of the work you've done in Alliance Learning Center. And they're also designed to leverage knowledge that we all have. We all have different experiences we bring to the table that we can all learn from one another. And the goal is to give you all this information and then help you work to apply these general concepts to your specific situations. The goal is to have you all participate live in all 6 of the sessions, but life happens, and you may or may not be able to participate in every one of the sessions. When I resend that schedule to you, I'm also going to ask that you let me know if you're going to be missing any of the sessions, because I need to report that live sessions, because I need to report that to Lions Clubs International and why. If it's something personal, you don't have to tell me it's your grandson's birthday or you're going to be doing this, that, or the other thing. Just say you have a personal reason, or if it's a Lions event, you've got your convention, whatever it is. And that's knowledge that LCI uses in helping to plan, not only understand what's going on with you, but to plan for next year. I will tell you that if you do miss a live session, that you will need to make up those materials and follow through on those materials before the next series of live sessions. So if you miss Friday night session, by the following weekend, you will need to be caught up on whatever you missed, just to make sure that everything is, that you're ready for the following week's sessions. Because again, they build on one another. If you have questions as you're going through it, I will be available on call to have conversations with you one-on-one if you miss a session, to make sure that you are up to date and have all your questions answered so you are prepared for the next session. The other thing is, and I alluded to it a few minutes ago, is that our session lengths are defined by Lions Clubs International down to the minute, quite honestly. So if we are having a great discussion, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, and the group decides that they would like to take another 5 minutes in that discussion, we'll take that 5 minutes and that'll just extend our session a little longer than initially planned. If that's not an option, we can try to do some other means of continuing the conversation, either through WhatsApp or by scheduling another optional discussion during the week, or whatever it is that the group decides we want to do. So that's kind of some of the basic pieces of it. The other thing that I think I got you all a little confused about earlier today, if you're on WhatsApp, is the DGE School materials. I accidentally gave you the wrong link or PDF in the WhatsApp group, and I gave it to you for the manual, the district governor, the virtual district governor-elect seminar manual, participants manual. That's actually what was just mailed out to you this week. So you should all be receiving it by the 24th at the absolute latest. So that is in the mail. Along with that, I think you're going to be getting some other supplies and materials that we'll be using for the virtual sessions. You will understand what those are, and we'll need to have those handy when it comes time to run our virtual sessions. At the virtual sessions themselves, you will need your participant manual, your completed pre-assignment manual, excuse me, and also the participant manual and any of those other materials as are defined in each assignment. So that's the materials that someone was asking about on the WhatsApp group earlier. So any questions on that so far? Because we're going to start working through this pre-assignment book, but we're going to use it with a schedule. So I'm going to share the schedule here with you on the screen in a second. But before we get into the book itself, a couple of things on the pre-assignments. Feel free, if you already have your pre-assignment workbook, I know some of you have been working on your pre-assignments. As soon as you get it, I suggest you at least page through it and start working on those assignments, as when it comes to the actual DGE school timing, this virtual timing, things are going to be tight and very fast moving. So there's more time you can have to answer some of these questions, the more you're going to get out of it. The other fair warning is I will be emailing you each week with pre-assignment reminders leading up to each of the 5 sessions. So actually in the middle of February-ish, you're going to get an email from me talking about what your pre-assignments are for the first session that we're going to have that first weekend in March. So all of that will be coming, and you'll get reminder emails from me. I can't, and I know I've already said this twice, but I can't say this often enough, that you need to come to the session with your assignments complete, because they are the basis of our discussions during the live sessions. And the last note on this is that some of the pre-assignments, and some of you have seen this already, require you all to email me your responses, because your responses feed into what I'm going to be covering in the session itself. So if you come across those as you're doing your assignments in advance and you want to email them to me whenever you do them, that's great. If not, I will send you a note that'll be part of the pre-assignment note, just letting you know what I need from you and when I need it by. In general, I'll be looking for whatever those pre-assignment responses are about a week out from the session. So I know this is all overwhelming and a lot of, oh my God. I swear it's not as complicated as it sounds. Once we get into it, it all makes logical sense. I had the same reaction the first one of the training sessions I sat in to do this training for you all. And I'm like, what did I get into? It's honestly not as bad as it sounds, but there's a lot of steps that go into this. So it'll all make sense, and we'll have it all parsed out for you as we move through it. So it looks like Dale is either trying to osmosis get things out of his book, or he has a question. No? You're good? All right. All right, so I am now going to finally share the screen with you with our schedule. So let me get to the screen sharing here, and I can zoom in if you would like me to. I will remind you need to please interrupt me if you have a question at this point, as I have a hard time seeing you all right now because I'm looking at a different screen. So this is the training schedule I mailed out to you all in November. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more here so you can see all of this, hopefully. I'm sorry, I thought I had this ready. So you'll see that this was our original plan for this session was going to be on last Friday, but we had to bump it to this Friday. So let's talk about these individual sessions and the individual weeks that we're going to be looking at. And I'm going to refer to your books as we go through this because I think it's going to make the most sense. So there's a number, each one of the way Lions Clubs International has laid this out is that you have pre-assignments. There's going to be some general session videos on demand that you're going to need to view before we have our live sessions. So that both your pre-assignments and those videos on demand are what are going to feed into the live session. All of these links are to come. They'll all be found in that Chime platform I was referring to earlier. So our first week really starts February 27th through March 4th. And quite honestly, it starts as soon as the links become available and as soon as you get this workbook, but you're going to need to have it all completed by March 4th. And those, our first live training session is going to be on Friday, March 4th. And it is 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time, which is the same time we're doing this call. So it'll be the same for you. If you're in Asia, it'll be about in the morning. For us here in The US and Canada, it'll be in the evening. And our first session is going to be a seminar welcome and an orientation session. And that is a full 2-hour session, as you'll see by the 120 minutes that are laid out there. And then on Saturday, March 5th, we're going to have our second session, and that's on becoming a whole leader. Those pre-assignments that are there are actually what lead into all of that. I will tell you that the orientation session is not very challenging as far as your pre-work. There is some pre-work that you need to do that's going to take you about a half an hour according to LCI. And a lot of that is to go through and review everything, your booklets and everything else, so you're ready to go. The pre-assignment for becoming a whole leader actually uses that head, heart, and guts assessment that we took last fall. If you have not done so already, you should download that assessment as a PDF, so you have it not only to use as you're doing your assignment, but also as you're working on, sorry, we've got a couple of people entering the waiting room right now. Also as you're doing your assignment, but also for future reference, as you're looking at your own leadership style and what you might take from it and use to advance your own leadership training and how you are leading your district. So there's a whole session on becoming a whole leader. There's an e-learning course, and there's also a whole section on working through your individual head, heart, and guts assessment report and a number of questions that go along with that. So that's the pre-assignment that you see there under the pre-assignment. Excuse me, I just need a drink of water. Lions Clubs International is estimating that's going to take about 6.6 hours during that, for that pre-work and during the training sessions themselves. So how you get your pre-work done is, as you can see, really up to you. Once you get that workbook, if you can get it done earlier, it'll make it easier for you on that week. Questions on what we're going to be doing on that first week of virtual training?
Jody, this is Jeanette. The one question I have, are we going to get a copy of this? Of
This
the
spreadsheet?
assignment? Yep.
You will have this, yes. You already should have received one in November, but I'm going to resend this out tomorrow. And
Okay.
also at the time I send this out, I'm going to ask that you respond that you either plan to attend all sessions or send me the notes for the sessions you won't be able to attend.
Okay.
Great question.
Jody,
Yes.
if anybody has a cell phone, you can take a picture of the screen if you want it ahead of time.
Perfect. Other questions?
Done.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Already done.
Excellent. All right, so then we have a week off in between that time, well, March 6th to the 18th. Oh, that's where we have the break because I'll be out of town for that week. And the next week, we're going to be focusing on managing your team and learning more about LCIF. I did want to make a comment here about the topics that LCIF has chosen for us to cover. If you look at the pre-assignments, the majority of the pre-assignments, they all tie around becoming a whole leader, managing your team, supporting membership, and that's both growth and retention, resolving conflict, and leading change. If you think about your role as district governor, that is really the heart of what it takes for us to be successful in our role as district governor, and having understanding of those topics will certainly help you lead your team and help move them forward in those areas. So I'm really impressed and really happy to see these topics are the focus that LCI is giving us to focus on this year. This is a much different course. I was governor in 17-18, a very different course than it was in 17-18. And I think this is a much better hands-on opportunity for you to be able to take and apply to your local districts. So anyways, our second week, we're going to be focusing on managing our team. We're going to talk a little bit about LCIF and then goal setting and action planning with those LLC courses. Many of you have already completed those. Some of you are still working on them. I was looking at that earlier today. Keep at it if you haven't completed them. If you have completed them, thank you very much for putting the time in. And I hope, as we discussed in November when we were together, whenever it was we were together, that you are getting some good information out of them. Our videos that week are going to be a discussion about our global priorities for next Lions year. You've already heard them from Brian and VP Brian and some of the session we had in August and where some of the priorities are going to be, but this is really going to flesh them out and give you a very clear idea of the direction that VP Brian is asking us to go. The other thing, and it's always one of the highlights of our sessions of the DGE School, is the keynote speaker. I do not know who that's going to be yet, but the keynote speaker is always inspiring and always something you don't want to miss. So we'll be able to take a look at that through our on-demand videos. That week, our Friday session covers the managing your team segment that you will have done your pre-work with, and then some focused discussion about LCIF, our International Foundation, and wrapping up Campaign 100 and where we go from there. Campaign 100. And then that Saturday, we're going to talk about goals and action plans and do an entire workshop on goals and action plans. You will want to have some draft goals set by the time we hit that session on Saturday, March 19th. These do not have to be your final goals. Those are not due till the end of May, but some sort of draft goals that you'll be able to use to help you in this session would be very beneficial to you, as you'll be able to work through step by step some of the information that you're going to want to add into those goals. So will be very helpful for you. Note that this week, if you put everything off and do all of your pre-assignments and your videos on demand and the live sessions, you're talking about 7.4 hours of time in that week. So if that works for you, fantastic. Otherwise, again, doing the pre-assignments when you get the book and working through those would be very advantageous. Those videos, I'm not exactly sure what date your videos on demand will be available, but I would guess by the end, they should be available by the end of February. More details on that to come. Questions on what we're going to be doing during our second week of DGE virtual training? Does look like someone put something in the chat. Let me see if I can see there. Okay, that's all right. Week 3 is going to be a huge week for us. This week is based on the training and the materials. This is going to be a lot of discussions that you're going to take a lot from. And this for us is going to be March 20th through March 26th. And this is going to involve your pre-assignments on how you're going to support membership, conflict resolution, and leading change. I've sat through the training on all of these sessions, and they're rich, they're diverse, and you will all learn a great deal during these sessions from one another and from the materials that we'll be going through. We're also going to see a Montreal preview there. You're going to get a closing message that's going to get you super fired up. If you haven't been fired up when you've run into Brian Sheehan and Bruce Beck, I think we need to check your pulse, because those guys are just super excited about the potential and everything on board with us. So we will then in our sessions follow through on the supporting membership and resolving conflict. And then we're going to wrap it up on that Saturday with leading change and a wrap up mini online celebration that's going to lead us into getting ready for our live time together in Montreal. Some quick note on Montreal. The executive team for LCI met this week. They had their regular executive team meetings, and they are planning to do a hybrid convention. I don't have a lot of details on it yet. Essentially what that means is they will have the live convention in Montreal, and there will also be some sort of recorded sessions available to every Lion to view after the convention is over. It isn't clear exactly which sessions will be available, but I'm guessing some of the plenary sessions will be available for any Lion to be able to view it. And they haven't made any announcements specifically on how that's going to work yet, but it will be happening. So I think that's really exciting for our members who can't afford to go to an international convention. They'll be able to get some flavor of what it means to be part of the International Association through the plenary session or whatever recordings that are available. So that's in a nutshell what we're going to be working on over basically starting from now, as soon as you get your pre-assignment booklets through March 26th. There are, I know, questions about specifics, and I wasn't sure how to answer those specific questions because I don't know what they are. So Beryl, I see you ready to talk. Or no, does anyone have any questions or the specifics you were looking for earlier that you would like to ask at this point?
Jody, if you're going to record these sessions and we can't make one, how do we get the recorded session?
The recorded sessions are going to be in Chime. That's a really great question. So everything that is to do with this virtual seminar is going to be in Chime. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so I can actually see you all. So you'll be able to access those recordings there, and LCI will be able to track whether you access those sessions and also if you finished watching the session. So that will be part of the tracking that will be going on during the week. So to make sure that you do get caught up with everything. So great question. And again, that Chime app, that Chime platform will have more details on and be able to do an overview of sometime towards the end of next month.
Jody, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, one of our district governors in our sub-district, she is from A2, 308 A2. She is not very conversant in English. Maybe that's why she's not here. All right. So for all these things, is there any translation for her to understand? Because even if she see the recording, she may not understand the whole proceedings. So if you can have a colleague to have some in Chinese, and I don't know whether it's too much to ask, you know, so that she can understand the whole proceedings. Thank you.
That is an excellent question, SK. They do have groups that are being presented and trained in Chinese. If you could just send me a note and let me know who that is, I will follow up with her and LCI and see if we can move her to a group that she's going to be able to learn easier in, because it'll be her native language.
Okay, I'll do that after this later. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a great question.
Jody, I have a question.
Sure.
You said that these sessions will be taped, correct?
Correct.
Because we are planning on going on vacation the 25th, and we will not be back until the 7th and back in town. Okay. So I can watch those and I can get credit for it and I can get everything, right?
Correct.
For the two, I think it's the 5th, the 4th and 5th or something.
Correct. And then
perfect.
What I'll remind you all of is, if you are going to miss a session, and once you watch those videos, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, anything that you need, please do reach out to me during the week, and let's schedule a time to chat or be able to do an email, whatever is appropriate, to make sure that you get your questions answered before we hit the next live training session.
Jody, once again, how soon do you think you'll have the open session for us to learn how to use Chime, or do you know yet?
I have no idea. All I know is they've told us on Chime is that we as group leaders will be trained in the middle of February. And that's really all I know at this point. So if I can get more information out of LCI and share it with you sooner than mid-February, I certainly will. If it takes doing 3 sessions, if it takes doing one-on-one sessions, my job is to make sure you are all comfortable and confident in working through that platform so that you can be successful in your DGE virtual school, because that's the basis of it, the whole thing. So as soon as I have more information, I will get it to all of you. We will for sure offer a session probably on a Friday evening or a Saturday evening, and then probably a couple during the week, maybe at different times during the day, to see what we can make sure we can hit as many of your time zones as possible, and hopefully hit one that'll work for you.
Thank you.
Jody, Dorothy here. Yeah. Now,
Yes.
Jody, your schedule, I look at you, you have all the time, but of the dates, but the time have yet to be confirmed, is it? Is it at night?
The times are there. I'm going to share my screen again, and I'll see if I can point that out to you here. If you look at the date here on the left, then the next spot is the time. So the time for all of these sessions right now, the actual live sessions, is from 7 to 9 p.m. or give or take, or 7 to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Well, and it switches partway through to Central Daylight Time, but it's about the same time we're working in this evening or today. For you, it's
But
Saturday.
what about the February 27, this pre-assignment seminar, orientation, all those are not.
Those pre-assignments are in the pre-assignment book that you
We
should
just,
have received.
oh, that means those are the things that the pre-assignment, we will only discuss the pre-assignment during March 4th, during the Zoom session.
Correct. You have until the live session to complete the pre-assignment. So
Okay.
the pre-assignment for March 4th is going to be the orientation session. So by March 4th, you need to complete the pre-assignment on orientation. By March 5th, you need to complete the Becoming a Whole Leader segment. Does that make sense?
Yep, okay, understood.
Perfect. David.
I noticed that coming up here in February is the going to Chicago. Are we doing instead of going to Chicago, are we doing this virtual?
Correct.
Okay.
And as long as you bring that up, that reminds me, I did have a couple of other comments. You should have received in December, when I was out of commission, information about registering for LCI convention. And you need to register as soon as possible. I believe they're asking you to hold off on scheduling your tickets right now, but you need to plane tickets or transportation, but you do need to register as soon as possible, especially if you're going to require a visa to get into Montreal. If you require a visa to get to Montreal, once you have filled out that registration, Lions Clubs International will provide you with the letter or whatever the certification or whatever that form is, whatever you need to be able to apply for your visa. What we're hearing is that a number of countries are backed up and it's very slow getting your visas because of COVID and other things going on right now. So if you require a visa, please, 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 please get your paperwork in and apply for that visa as soon as possible to ensure that you will not miss the live convention due to not having the proper paperwork in.
Jody, I sent in all my registration and I received an email back saying that International will take care of all my hotel and make sure that everything is arranged, including my transportation. So as long as I'm registered, I don't have to do anything else, right?
So now we're relying on my memory, which on a good day when I'm not on hydrocodone might be spotty. But as I recall, I had to schedule my own transportation to the convention, and I believe you do too, unless they've changed something. We'll clarify that when we get closer. They have us working with specific travel agencies, but we won't be working on that till March or April. When we get closer to the event, there'll be more information about it.
Jody, I did my registration with them and I received an email back stating that we do not do anything with our travel, that the travel agent will contact us in April and we will go from there. We don't have to do anything. The only thing is to fill out the registration for you and your companion. That way they all know that we're traveling with others.
Correct.
Oh.
But what's going to happen in March or April is you're going to work with the travel agency to get your transportation set. So you are correct. That is all correct. As long as you've got the registration in, you're all set. Someone will contact you from the travel agency when it comes the proper time to get that done, to get you scheduled.
Jody, a question from me is, so I'm looking at the schedule, February 27th to March 4th, seminar pre-assignment orientation. There's nothing for us to do, is there? Because the very first thing I see in the pre-assignment booklet is becoming a whole leader. I don't see anything about orientation.
The orientation piece is coming out. I don't have it yet now that you mention it.
Okay.
They are going to be sending that soon-ish. I have notes somewhere on that. So you are correct. The orientation piece is not in the book itself. That was a later addition, and I'll be sending that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Jody, Ron Bonnell, just a quick question on communications. You mentioned WhatsApp.
Yes, sir.
Do you use that, or can we just expect it? I don't use WhatsApp yet. Jeanette wants me to start. She's smiling, but I don't use it. I just use email, and I've got about 3 different email addresses. And it keeps me busy enough. So can I do that and expect it to come on email, or do I need to get WhatsApp as well?
So let me
She's
explain.
shaking her head yes.
So WhatsApp is a social media platform that allows you to have encrypted communication back and forth with the whole group. So it's a lot of chat. A lot of what we chat about here, you throw a question out and then people respond to it. It does not translate to email. So it is optional, but if you would like to be part of those conversations, which I strongly recommend you are, joining WhatsApp is free and it is secure and safe. It's not like a Facebook or a Twitter. This is an encrypted conversation, if you will, online conversation that only goes back and forth between the members of the group.
I appreciate your explanation, because I thought maybe some of this written material and stuff would be on a different form of communication like WhatsApp. All the written communication will come over the email, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Thank you.
WhatsApp, and if you haven't joined WhatsApp yet and you're interested, I'm dropping it in the chat window right now. That is the link to the WhatsApp group. And our group has been periodically active. I do believe as we get deeper into this, you're going to become more and more active with one another. That's what has happened in the past. Because there's more questions that come up as you're working through your goals and you're starting to work with your cabinets and all of those pieces. So there you have it. All right, other questions about what's going on with our trainings, with our virtual training? I'm making notes as we talk, by the way. That's why I look down every now and again.
Jody, this is it Amazon Chime? Is that what you're talking about? Or the app we're going to be using?
I do not believe it's an Amazon.
It's a business app.
Yeah, it's a business, and it's Chime something, and I can't remember what it's.
Is it CHIME?
Correct.
Okay. And I think since it's only mobile, I have a strange feeling that it's going to be one of those where you can only do it via your phone or something of that sort.
No, this is a custom business app that allows you to go in on your desktop, laptop, tablet, or your phone and participate. Okay. You will each have a specific login, and you will log into your own account, free account with that. And that's going to give you access to any number of things, including one of the questions that I still have, because I still don't know how this is going to work, but in the Chime app, it's going to tell you, and we'll talk about how you can do your picture with the Vice President Brian, Vice President Brian will, and your official picture with Brian, and what's going to happen with that. There's going to be links to each of the recordings of each of our sessions. There's going to be links to all kinds of information that's going to help you in preparation. So it's all through this custom app platform that LCI has had customized for us. Other questions? So if not at this point, as you're going through your workbooks, as more information comes out, feel free to reach out. I do really good live, and until I get off these pain meds, I'm not so good at follow-up necessarily, as I think I mentioned earlier. So I'm trying to stay on top of it, but if you don't hear back from me within 48 hours, please ping me again and we'll get it done. This is exciting. Having seen the curriculum and gone through the training for the entire curriculum, it's really fantastic. So one more topic, and then we've got just general Q&A here. I wanted to talk a little bit about your goals. A number of you have sent notes to me asking questions about your goals, and I'm getting screens here for you to be able to start with. So I'm going to share a screen here with you with the website that is where everything is. LCI in the past 2 years has really done a fantastic job of creating these specific websites that capture, or web pages, excuse me, that capture what it is that you're doing in specific areas. So this is actually the 2022-2023 district goals page. And if you do a search on district goals, this link will pop up for you. I can also drop it in the chat window for you if you'd like, so that you can go ahead and see that. Let me just do that right here. So with this page, it goes through very specifically what they're looking for in your goals, where to begin, which is something that should be very familiar to each of you, these 4 steps of building a team, building a vision, building a plan, and then building success. I believe it was Dawn that was looking for when your goals are due, and a number of you have alluded to it, but your final goals are due by May 30th. You will have the opportunity to update them until the end of 2022. So you will have the opportunity to change and update them through December 31st of 2022, but your actual final goals are due by May 30th. We will want you to have some draft goals in place, as I mentioned earlier, in time for that Saturday, March 19th session that we're going to have for virtual DGE School. You should all be working on your goals with your team right now. I think some of these pieces that LCI has put in place for you are fantastic. So there is a district goals assignment that is available in the Lions Learning Center. I'm going to share these items with you and what's available just to make sure you've seen them all. Some of these tools are really phenomenal. And they were not necessarily there in the old days. So let me get to screen 2. All right, so when you click on the district goals assignment in the Lions Learning Center, it's going to ask you to download a PDF. And it goes through and helps you plan how to, and teaches you how to set your district goals through a step-by-step process. It breaks it down into a very clear and easy fashion that you can use to go through with your GAT team and your exec team for next year. I'm scrolling through these, what is it, 6 pages, I think it is. Oops, nope, 7 pages. 8. There's a number of pages for notes in here and everything. It's really a well-designed tool to allow you to focus on and put your goals together. But they didn't stop there. They added to it, let me zoom out because I thought it was zoomed out earlier. This is called your District Strategic Plan Workbook. And this workbook does a fantastic job of helping you work through setting your goals in each of the different areas of service, membership, leadership, and LCIF, the Lions Clubs International Foundation. It walks through each one of those steps, and it lets you look at it from a strategic standpoint, not just your year, but how is this going to impact subsequent years? How does that fit in with the current goals, and where are you building from? So it walks you through a very specific strategic planning process that will allow you and your team to put together the best goals possible for your district. I can't emphasize enough, your job is not just necessarily set stretch goals and say, I'm going to start 10 clubs. Your goal is to set realistic goals for your district so that you have, and then if you achieve them, you can add more goals or build off of those. I heard someone had a question.
Yes, Jody, yes. Is this in My Learning? Is, because I've not seen this at all.
This,
in the
this is all on that website that I just sent you the link to.
Oh,
The other piece that's there is a really nice action planning template. It's a fillable PDF that you can set up each of your goals and start filling out the action plan. So I'll go back to again, Dale, and I'll share that other screen with you all again. Because I think it's really important. And I'm not, this technically should be something I believe your GAT is coming up from your GAT. Here we go. Nope, wrong one. Screen 3. Okay, I'm getting there eventually. Sorry. Here we go. This is something that I believe your GAT leaders will be talking about in coming meetings. But you can access it at any time by just typing into the search engine for the LCI website or 2022-23 district goals. And that should take you to this website. Or I did put it in the chat window and you can copy that out of the chat window and put it there. But it's a very nice piece. There's all kinds of other resources as well. There's a sample action plans booklet, which is brand new. There's an FAQ about your goals, a frequently asked questions about your goals that may help. Here's one that I know Jeanette was asking about, and I think some of the others of you are as well. Integrating the global membership approach into your district goals. I think this is a very helpful piece for you as you're looking at what is this champion's role and how can they help you reach your goals and help your district turn membership around so you aren't hemorrhaging members as you were talking about. Some of the supporting actions for district success. You will be able to print your goals once you're able to put them in the system. So your GAT resources and other pieces there. The other thing that's important, and you can't build your own goals without looking at what's happened in the past. So you have links here to your 2021-22 district goals. There's the dashboard on how your progress in those goals are going, and goes back also to the 2020-2021 district goals. So there is a lot of resources on this page, and I think it's one that I would bookmark if I was you and refer back to often.
Jody,
Yes,
on the screen that you had up previous, is that found at this location as well?
it is. Those 3 pieces I just showed you are under assignments to complete. So it is these 3 links here.
Okay.
And this is the seminar district goals assignment through the LLC. That was that first PDF. The plan workbook was the second PDF. And the action plan is the third PDF. The question I have for all of you, and this is a challenge that I struggle with all the time. I am happy to email those PDFs to you along with the follow-up. The challenge is that a lot of times if I send too many materials in one email, it gets lost in the shuffle. So I can send this to you or you can download it yourself. And if I do send it to you, I think I'll send it to you as a separate email from the schedule email that I'm going to send you to make sure it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. How's that?
That would be good.
So I'll email, you'll get 2 emails from me after I get my coffee in me in the morning. One of the seminar schedule, and then 2, the second one will be on this goals information for you. So we have a couple of minutes here. If there's no questions, more questions on this. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about anything, successes, challenges that you're facing with getting your goals in place.
Jody, SK here.
Yes.
May I have a question and perhaps a guidance? My district has got 99 clubs, all right, and the membership varies a lot. The biggest club is 133 members, okay. The smallest club is 1. So my question to you and perhaps to LCI is that we have 10 clubs that are less than 6 members. So as a coming district governor, what should I do? All right, should I ask them to merge, advise them to merge those that are less than 10, or should I even propose to LCI to cease the clubs that has only one member? That's a guidance. That's my question for you today. Thank you.
That's a great question, because whether we have clubs of 1 and 133 or clubs of 35, I think, or 10, I think we all have clubs in our district that are at that 10 or lower, or 15 members, or whatever it might be. It is really your job as an incoming governor to work with your GAT team, probably your membership team coordinator, and or if you have a NAMI champion or global membership champion, to reach out to each of those clubs and have a conversation. Hear what's going on, learn what's behind the fact of where they're at, and use that information to help make a decision. How many of your clubs, districts have certified guiding lions? Do you have a lot of certified guiding lions in your area?
Yes.
Those once, and you could actually assign a certified guiding lion unofficially to go out and do that research and start bonding with that club, along with the zone chair, to work with them to figure out what's going on. And at that point, once you have that information, the question then you can start to make a decision on how to proceed. It may make sense to have a couple of those clubs merge. It may not. It may make sense that that one person club, maybe it's one person that doesn't want to give up, and they need someone to come in and help regrow, to teach them how to grow the club, and a team from the district to help them be able to go out and recruit new members. There's so many different things it could be. I think you have to have more information.
If I may add a comment, the current district governor did speak to this one-man club. Okay, all right. But his response to the DG is that so long as I pay my dues, you cannot remove my club. So is that the right approach? Okay, or can the district governor then write to LCI and say, sorry, this club, singular club, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't even have a BOD if it's only a one-man club. All right, and this one-man club has been around now. Going to be 2 years. When it comes to my term, it'll be 2 years. So I am now seeking your opinion, your guidance. What should I do?
I have not run across, you're the first person I've run across that has a one-person club that doesn't want to fold. So this is news. This is a new challenge. And I recommend that a conversation be held with the membership division at LCI. I don't know the official rules on this, and it's probably, you might get bounced to legal afterwards, but I think a call to the membership division or communication with them would help clarify what those rules are. If this individual wants to truly be a lion, I think transferring them to another club, it doesn't sound like they're interested in growing. It sounds like they just want to say they're a lion and pay their dues. So I think that you need to reach out for advice from international on that. And I think that
another reason he gave is that because of COVID. He said, I cannot get members now because of COVID. So you cannot deprive me to having membership later. So that's why he insists on maintaining his status, the club status, as a one-man band.
Well, and there could be some validity in that. If the club went from a 20-member club to a 1-member club since, 2000 March or February, March of 2019, there may be some validity to that. Each situation is so unique. I think it's really important that we, in general, you find out what's going on. And then once you do, reach out for support. And in this case, LCI. LCI is really good at responding to, especially when you have the title of district governor, they're really good at responding to questions like this. So if they don't respond to your question, I suggest you have your district governor reach out to membership and get a response from the membership division on how to best proceed with that.
Okay, thank you for the time. Thank you.
Sure.
Jody, this is Jeanette.
Yes.
We have one club that has one person, and that person actually is a past district governor. And he had a very strong club, but he kind of chased everybody away. Nobody got along with him. And so this has been going on for 5 years. We've tried calling him, tried going down to visit him, sending him emails and stuff, but he is just dead set on he's going to die a past district governor.
So
And that's just where that club is.
I think we all have, hopefully we don't all, but a lot of us have those similar situations. And I think when it comes to us going through the discussions during our membership session, at the virtual session, we can definitely delve deeper into these concepts and really work through some of those challenges and a lot of the resources that are available to us. So let's go back to how, any more questions on your goals, any challenges you're having with getting your team together. Do you have a team approach in your district?
Graham from Australia, we have a team goal. We've had our goals set in place now for 2 years and trying to move forward, because we went through an era where every district governor came in, changed the goals, and which turned the clubs against the district, which we're still trying to fix up, because clubs didn't know where they were going, because every year a new leader came in, changed everything, got people offside, and now we're trying to get it back on an even keel. And this comes into your memberships as well. There's still a great divide between district and clubs, and those clubs that will report into district and into my LCI, and those that won't. So it's a culture thing that has to be fixed to beat, especially here in Australia, is to stop the divide between district and the clubs. And we got to, close that barrier so we can get back all being one and not being individuals. I think that's where all our membership should be aimed at, not trying to bring in new schemes. We've got to stop the divide, and that's why people are leaving, because they just don't want to change every year.
I think you're spot on, and I think that there's so many opportunities for us. The question in a lot of cases is, how do you focus and how do you get your whole team on board to each have their focus so that you can all be successful together? And the concept of having a district governor team and all of you working together, the governor, the first and second vice district governor, along with your GAT team, for consistency and so you can build off of one another, is a huge key to success. I don't know any successful business, whether it be for profit or not for profit, that changes their direction every year depending on the whim of their CEO. It just, you can't be successful like that. You have to have a plan, and you have to be strategic, and you have to work together. Hey, there's a question about how you can download the chat. And I will tell you that if you right click in the chat window where you would start to type your own message, there should be a ellipsis down there, three dots. If you click on those 3 dots, I believe you should, at the very top of that, get an option to save the chat. So if you're going to write a note to the entire group down in the bottom, or in the chat window, and to everyone, to the far right of that, there's a little picture of a piece of paper, a smiley face, and then 3 dots with the word more when you mouse over it. And then at the very top of that, when I click on that, it says save chat. If that's not working for you, I will be sending you, I'll send all the chat links that we had provided in the emails tomorrow as a follow-up for you.
Jody, where does it save the chat discussion window?
Well, it looks like on my computer, it saves it under my Zoom folder.
Okay.
So it should go directly to your Zoom folder.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jody, you had asked about how the district goals are going and stuff. I fortunately, our district has been working for the last 3 years on the global membership, and each governor has brought in the past district governor's goals and kind of like grew off of that. So, we are like on the page for the next 5 years, hopefully, that each governor will work off of what the past governors have been doing and making it stronger and making our goals stronger. So we're working as a team, which is nice.
Fantastic.
Jody, we're doing the same in our district. I mean, we have like our district governor, myself, and our second vice district governor. We meet up once a month and we have dinner and, you know, leadership meeting along with our PCC, along with our council chair. So we're just planning on just taking our this year's goals and just expanding on those. The hard thing that we have in our district, I think, is to actually try and find and to motivate new people, not new Lions, but to get Lions interested in becoming leaders within the district. That's where our hardship is. So not just recycling.
So I have a couple of comments for you on that, because Carol, I think that is a challenge across the board. How do you get new people to step up to serve on your district cabinet, especially in those key roles where you need people? And I think the first thing is that your district has to be relevant to the members of the clubs. If the members of the club don't see a value in what the district is providing or don't know what the district does, they're not going to step up to serve. So I think that's first, as you're looking at what your district does and the service your district, what's the job of your district? I think making it relevant, the work that you do as a district, making it relevant to the grassroots Lion is important to growing your district and growing your leadership. Number two, I also believe very firmly that it's up to us, as we're in the role of district governor-elect especially, to reach out to people who've never been reached out to before. You have the ability to have your governor do a data download, and you can email every member in your district about what your jobs are and what your cabinet is, what you do, and what the district does, and list out the committees that you have and ask if anyone's interested in serving on any of those committees. I did that, and I got someone that stepped up from a club that's never volunteered for anything at the district level to serve on one of the worst committees there is, research and long range planning. I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? All it took was a simple email and asking. And when you ask, especially for roles like zone chair or GAT, one of your GAT team members, knowing what the job entails is really important. So I know, for example, in my own district, that for our zone chairs, we expect a zone chair to visit the clubs twice a year, once in the first half and once in the second half. One of them needs to be a club meeting, and hopefully the other one is going to work at a club project. That's what we say. But we also expect them to do, their zone meetings, and we expect this, that, and the other thing. And we say it's going to take 8 hours a month of your time to be a zone chair. Are you willing to do that? And here's the list of job requirements that we have. So laying out the job and having people understand what they're signing up for is really important. And then ongoing communication throughout the year. So, I think in WhatsApp, and some of you aren't on WhatsApp, Jeanette was asking about, do you need to have a global membership approach champion? And where might you find one? How do you recruit people? And so often we look at the same people, and it's always our past district governors that you said that have been doing it for 20 years, and they say they don't want to give it up, but you can't find anyone. Well, you can run reports, or your governor can help you run a report on the people that have recruited the most members in your district. What's a club that's had the most growth in membership over the past 10 years? And look for their membership chair or a leader from that club to possibly lead your membership team. Look for someone that's a huge cheerleader, that's going to be your GMA champion, that's going to go out and fire these clubs up and get them excited about being Lions again, and can connect them to the resources that they need for those clubs to be successful. I think we sometimes have to stop looking at the usual suspects and reach out beyond where we normally do. So that's one of my soapbox issues. I should have warned you about that before I started that little soliloquy, but it's really important to me because we work so hard to find people to step up, and some of our districts don't have second vice district governors. Some don't even have first vice district governors. And part of the reason is because we have become irrelevant to the grassroots Lion member. They just see our districts, and I don't want to offend any of you, but I'm going to say it anyways, as some schmuck who shows up once a year in some weird jacket that half the time can't even put a sentence together. That's what they see our districts as. And if that's what I, as a grassroots member, saw my district as being, why would I volunteer my time to step up? So we have to find a way to be relevant.
Very well said.
Long-winded, but there you go.
Very well said.
Anything else?
It's Graham, Jody, just getting back to the question about one membership clubs. In our district, in our constitution, it says you must have a president, secretary and a treasurer, and only one person can serve two of those positions. If that cannot be fulfilled, the club is then put into status quo with LCI. So that should be the answer to these one person clubs, because every club, regardless of what it is, must have a secretary, a treasurer and a president, of which one person can fill two positions but cannot fill the three. So therefore, we should never have a one-person club because they don't meet the requirements of LCI. That's what's written into our constitution.
Good point. And I think that's actually part of the LCI overall constitution and bylaws for the club. So it doesn't matter if you have a different one, that would override most everything.
Yeah, it just seems strange to me that there were people, one person could keep a club alive. To me, it's already there in black and white that it shouldn't happen.
So David, I think the email you were asking for is, I will dig through my records. I believe I do have a copy of that cabinet recruitment email somewhere in my electronic files. So I will send that through to you. I also have in the positions in the district, did we discuss, I sit in on so many meetings, did we discuss the district cabinet job description books or overviews at all? I will also, if you're interested, along with that recruitment email, send you a copy of the version that I have of our district manual that kind of gives a description of what each cabinet committee is supposed to do and just in general what it is. So I'll send the cabinet committee description.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please do that. Thank you.
Yes.
And if you want, would you like me to send you a copy of that zone chair, my zone chair overview that we use to recruit zone chairs?
Sure.
Won't hurt.
All right, I'm going to send that under a separate cover. So you're now getting 3 emails tomorrow. Just again, to try and make it easier to find things so it's not all buried in one giant email. Oh, wow, you guys, we're like almost at 9 o'clock, believe it or not. I don't think we get together often enough, quite honestly, because I think we could talk a lot and learn a lot from one another. But we're changing that very soon because we're going to be spending a lot of quality time together in a few weeks here. Thank you all for taking the time on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, whatever it is in your time zone, to go through all of this. I hope you all got something out of this to take back to help you as you're preparing your goals and as you're getting ready for the virtual seminar. I'm going to reiterate again, you cannot start your assignments soon enough because those are going to be the building block for everything. And the more time you have on those, the more likely it is that you're going to be successful in what you're going to get from the seminar. You'll get more out of it. Yes.
May I share something for 1 minute?
Sure.
To everybody? I just want to share that Singapore is quite different from many of your districts. All right, your district have big geographical area, and then when you're going to visit your clubs, there is already quite, you have to plan for this. Singapore is a metropolis. It's a very concentrated area. Even Malaysia, there is slightly bigger area than that. So our problem or our issue or our recruitment or retention is slightly different. I mentioned just now already that we are quite diverse in terms of also language, in terms of culture, in terms of race and so on. Okay, so that will be all the district governors' challenges every year in looking after our district. Okay, so my point is about geography lah. There are quite different problems and so on. The other thing I'd like to share is that Singapore district is also very lucky. Our government is very supportive. Just now we're talking about volunteers, we're talking about service and so on, right? Our government helps to fund some of the Lions, what they call facilities. We have a Lions Home, we've got Lions Defenders Association. All these are funded by the government, but they engage the Lions Club to be the management consultant, so to speak. That means we provide the management, we provide the personnel, we provide the volunteers to help the old folks, to help the seniors. So in that way, many of our club members do service. That means they join the Lions movement to help the seniors, to help the elderlies, whether to feed them or to look after them and so on. So in that sense, we are fortunate. All right, that is something I believe. I'm not sure about your various districts and so on. That is something that Singapore enjoy have the privilege. Okay, so like for example, we have 2 Lions Home, we have 9 Lions Senior Activity Center, and that occupies quite a lot of our different clubs monthly service activities. Okay. And my last point is talking about retention and so on. This is one problem, whereby compared to USA and so on, the Lions movement is 100 over years. In Singapore, it's barely past 60 years. So our growth potential is still there. All right, in terms of age and in terms of the different races and so on. Okay. For example, in January this year, 4 new clubs are being chartered. So that means 80 members are added to our current district, and these are young people. And this formation of the specialty club is very good. We think that we can even charter even more clubs based on this specialty club concept. Okay.
Especially clubs and service.
Okay, that's all I'm going to share. Thank you very much. My 1 minute is up.
Thank you.
And service are so important, and hopefully your GAT team, you're talking more about that.
Quick question, Jody. It's January the 14th. We're not supposed to meet till March the 4th. Is there not a chance between March 5th and March 18th, we could have an hour just meeting like this and people could discuss issues? I really would like to see us do that.
I would be happy to set up some additional just drop and chat if you're available. Let's talk, just drop in and we talk about whatever is of interest, and anything I've heard I can add to the conversation. If you'd like, I can put some dates together for those and get those out.
I don't think we want a pile of them, but for sure now that's 6 weeks before we're going to meet again. Maybe somewhere in the middle there would be nice. Yeah. Around the 14th, 15th, I don't know. You have to pick the time for that suits everybody. I don't know what it is.
Well, so why don't we just say right now, let's plan right now. Let's plan to do just a chat session on February 11th at the same time. That way then we're about a month out from today. And then we'll be just a few weeks, about 3 weeks out from our first seminar group. And if you want, we can also try and do some during another one during the week. And if there's any specific topics you want to cover in that, please just shoot me an email or drop it in WhatsApp. And I maybe can bring, if there's something appropriate, we can bring in some special guests to cover the topic, or we can just chat like we have been now. I think this open chat is very beneficial to all of us.
Sounds good to me.
So February 11, 7 o'clock, that means in Singapore is Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. Same thing, right? Thank you.
For all of you who are on warm ground, we're having our ice fishing derby tomorrow. It's our big Lions fundraiser on Lake Lenore Lake. We got 500 people registered already and giving away $25,000 worth of prizes.
Hey, wow.
Good for you.
Well done. Yes.
Fantastic project. All right. I'm going to do my wrap up and we can stand and chat, but for those that want to leave, I do want to share my last little screen with you. I got a quote because I like quotes, and I'm going to share it. One of my favorite quotes is, here it comes. This comes from Rear Admiral, I just lost her name, Grace White Hopper. And it says, the most dangerous phrase in the language is, we've always done it this way. And I think Lions clubs have been living by that we've always done it this way attitude for probably too long, which is why we have a hard time attracting younger members and keeping them in a lot of our areas. So let's keep that in mind as we're working forward on everything else. So thank you all. For those of you who need to leave, feel free to drop off. We will hopefully see you on February 11th for that optional session. I will have 3 emails to you tomorrow. One with the seminar, one on goals and resources, and one on some of those other materials from my own year as governor and my district. We will have a optional group chat on February 11th at the same time as what we've done this evening. And it'll be just an open forum discussion unless someone brings any topics to bear that they want, and I'll give you any updates I have at that point. And I will be updating you as soon as possible with that potential chime training information so that you all can get that on your calendars. With that, thank you all. It's been a pleasure and awesome to see your faces and hear from you all again. It's going to be a lot of fun working forward with this, and I can't wait.
Thanks, Jody.
Thank you, Jody.
Thanks, Jody.
Bye.
Good night to you all. Good night to you all.
Everybody, Carol, nice meeting you.
You too.
Meryl,
Thank you.
Beryl, I'll send you my address tonight so you can just go ahead and send me the check for my prize, even though I won't be there.
Well, you got to catch a fish.
Ron, you need to download WhatsApp. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's that, Jeanette? Are you bugging me, Jeanette? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
What's that? I wrote the whole thing. It's all there. I didn't take a picture.
Okay, good.
Well, Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Take care. Stay safe.